Okay, real talk. Right now, in the middle of summer, your containers probably look tired. Half your lettuce bolted, the basil's leggy, and you're wondering if the season's basically over. It's not. It's actually the opposite. There's a short stretch, basically the next few weeks before August hits, where the soil is still hot enough to wake seeds up fast, but the air is about to cool down just enough to make everything you plant taste better than it would in June. Miss it, and your pots sit half empty until spring. Catch it, and you get a second, honestly better, growing season. So today I'm walking you through 15 vegetables you can still get into containers right now, with real container sizes, real zone info, and a couple of tricks for getting seeds to sprout even when it's still hot out. You don't need a big yard for any of this, either. Everything on this list will happily live its whole life in a pot on a balcony, a stoop, or a strip of concrete that gets a few hours of sun. And stick around, because the last two on this list aren't like the others. They're plants you basically install once and then just keep having them. No repurchasing seed packets every spring. Let's get into it. If you've never planted anything in your life, start with radishes, our number 15. They're basically the hello world of the vegetable garden. Plant them now, and you could be eating them before your next haircut. They're happy anywhere from zone 2 up through zone 10, so pretty much wherever you're watching this from, you're fine. A shallow 5-gallon container, or even a wide window box works, filled with a loose mix that isn't packed down, since compacted soil makes the roots grow twisted. The one trick for this time of year, the soil surface can crust over fast in summer heat, which blocks tiny seedlings from pushing through. So keep a light sprinkle going once or twice a day for the first week rather than one deep soak. Try French breakfast or cherry bell, both ready in as little as 22 to 28 days. Pull them the moment they're golf ball sized, or the warm soil turns them spongy and hot tasting. And because they're so quick, you can actually sneak a second sowing 3 weeks after the first, right in the same pot, and stagger your harvest instead of getting them all at once. Number 14 is bunching onions, sometimes called scallions, the crop I recommend to anyone who thinks they've killed everything. Zones 3 through 9 are all fair game. A single 5-gallon pot can hold a dense little forest of them. Just scatter seed thickly, since you're growing skinny green stalks rather than big bulbs, and give them at least 5 hours of sun. The only real hurdle sowing this late is heat-triggered dormancy, since the seed can stall if the soil climbs above 85 degrees. Water the container the night before you sow. Then sow right at dusk, so the seed sits in cooler soil overnight. Evergreen Hardy White is the classic pick. You'll be snipping usable greens in about 45 days, and here's the fun part. Cut an inch above the base, and they just keep regrowing. Arugula takes number 13. It actually gets more interesting in cooler weather, since the peppery bite mellows into something nuttier once night temps drop. It handles an enormous range, zone 2 all the way to 11, and a shallow 4-gallon window box is plenty since the roots stay shallow. Give it morning sun and afternoon shade if you're still hitting brutal heat. Its one quirk is that it can bolt almost overnight if it gets stressed by heat and inconsistent water, so keep the moisture steady rather than letting it swing from bone dry to soaked. Astro and Wasabi are 2 reliable picks. First baby leaves show up in around 20 days. And if you snip instead of yank, one planting can keep feeding you salads for a solid 2 months. Number 12, rutabaga. Think of it as a turnip's bigger, sweeter cousin nobody talks about enough. It genuinely improves after a cold snap, as the starches convert to sugar and the flesh turns almost custardy when roasted. It likes zones 2 through 8, and because it's forming a real root, you'll want a container at least 12 inches deep. A 7-gallon grow bag does the job. Loosen the mix well, since rocks or clumps down low will deform the root as it swells. Germination can be sluggish if the topsoil dries out even for a few hours, so a thin layer of grass clippings or shredded leaves over the seed row helps hold moisture without smothering the sprouts. American Purple Top is the variety most garden centers carry. Give it 80 to 90 days, and don't rush the harvest, since the flavor keeps improving the longer it sits through those first cool nights. That's your fast, low-effort starting lineup. Drop a comment with which one you're grabbing seeds for first. Now we're shifting gears, because the next batch isn't about speed anymore. These are the vegetables that actually want the cold to show up. Parsnips are number 11, and they're the patience project of this list, but they reward you more than almost anything else here. Leave them in the ground through a couple of frosts, and the flavor goes from fine to genuinely dessert-like. They grow well in zones 2 through 9, and you need real depth. A 10-gallon fabric grow bag is ideal, since the taproot can push down over a foot, so keep the soil loose and rock-free the whole way. The germination challenge is real, since parsnip seed loses viability fast and is notoriously slow in warm soil. So buy fresh seed this year specifically and soak it in room temperature water for about 12 hours before sowing to soften the seed coat. Harris Model and Hollow Crown are the names to look for. Expect 100+ days, which puts your harvest right around the first hard frost, exactly when you want it. One more tip that saves a lot of frustration. Mark the row clearly once you sow, because parsnip germination can take up to 3 weeks, and it's easy to assume it failed and dig around before it's even had a chance. Number 10. Collard greens. Basically kale's tougher, more heat-tolerant sibling, and they shrug off both blazing afternoons and light frost without blinking. Zones 6 through 11 are the sweet spot, though they'll survive further north with a bit of protection. A 7-gallon container filled with rich, compost-heavy mix keeps them productive for months, and they're hungry plants, so feed lightly every couple of weeks once true leaves appear. Their one late summer stumbling block is transplant shock from heat. So if you're moving seedlings outdoors, harden them off gradually over about 5 days rather than dropping them straight into midday sun. Georgia's Southern and Champion are dependable. Baby leaves at 35 days, full leaves around 60, and the plant just keeps pushing new growth from the center as you harvest the outer leaves. In milder zones, one healthy collard plant in a big enough pot can genuinely keep producing right through winter, which makes it one of the best returns per square foot of container space on this whole list. Mustard greens land at number 9. If you like a little heat in your salad, these are underrated. The flavor gets sharper in summer and rounds out into something milder once temperatures drop. They'll grow nearly anywhere, zones 2 through 11, in a 5-gallon container with average potting mix, and they're genuinely low maintenance with just 4 hours of sun. The biggest risk sowing late is flea beetles, which love young mustard seedlings in warm weather. A lightweight row cover laid right over the container for the first 2 weeks keeps them off without any spray needed. Southern Giant Curled and Florida Broadleaf are solid picks. You're eating baby greens in about 25 days and full-sized leaves by 40, and one plant regrows for weeks if you only take the outer leaves. Number 8 is Brussels sprouts, and this is the one crop on the list that demands real patience. But a container full of frost-kissed sprouts in November is one of the most satisfying things you can grow. Zones 2 through 9 work well. You'll want a big container here, 15 gallons minimum and at least 14 inches deep, since these are tall, top-heavy plants. Stake them once they hit knee height so wind doesn't topple the pot. The trick with planting this late is starting from transplants, not seed, since sprouts need a long season and a nursery seedling gives you the head start you need before cold weather locks in. Long Island Improved and Diablo are reliable container performers. Expect 90 to 100 days to first harvest, and pick from the bottom of the stalk upward as the little heads firm up. A light frost right before harvest turns them from fine to genuinely sweet. Cauliflower rounds out this section at number 7. It has a reputation for being fussy, and honestly that reputation is earned. But fall-grown heads are noticeably more forgiving than spring ones, since they're maturing into cooler weather instead of racing away from the heat. It handles zones 2 through 11. Go with a 15-gallon container and rich, well-fed soil, since cauliflower is one of the hungriest plants on this list, so feed it every 2 weeks. Buying transplants instead of starting seed is the single biggest thing that improves your success rate this late, since young seedlings really struggle in lingering heat. Snowball and Amazing hold up well in containers. You're looking at 60 to 80 days, and once the head starts forming, loosely tie the outer leaves over the top to keep it pale and tender, a trick called blanching. Skip that step and the head still tastes fine. It'll just develop a slightly yellow-green tint from sun exposure rather than staying pure white. Alright, that's the heavy hitter section, the crops that actually get better the colder it gets. But we're about to hit the part of the list that scares a lot of people off, because these next few are the greens everybody swears they can't grow in summer heat. Turns out, there's a 2-minute trick that fixes almost all of it. Napa cabbage takes number 6. It's more delicate than regular cabbage, but the payoff, crisp, sweet, almost translucent leaves, is worth the extra care. Zones 3 through 10 suit it well. A 10-gallon container with rich, well-draining mix is enough for 1 or 2 heads, and it needs consistent moisture since drought stress causes bitter, tough leaves. Its biggest enemy this time of year is bolting from heat stress, so pick a fast-maturing variety, and if you're still hitting 90-degree afternoons, rig up simple shade cloth for the first 2 weeks. Michihili is a dependable name. You'll get a full head in 55 to 70 days, and it's genuinely one of the best crops for kimchi or a quick stir-fry. Number 5 is butterhead lettuce, and it's the one most people give up on in summer because the seed just refuses to sprout once soil temps climb above roughly 80 degrees. Here's the fix nobody tells you. Pop your seed packet in the fridge for 2 to 3 days before sowing. That brief chill resets the seed's internal thermostat and dramatically improves germination even when it's still warm outside. It grows in zones 2 through 11, needing only a 5-gallon container or window box 8 inches deep. Since the roots are shallow, morning sun with afternoon shade keeps the leaves from turning bitter. Buttercrunch and Tom Thumb are 2 compact, container-friendly varieties. Baby leaves in about 28 days, full heads in 55 to 65, and it just gets sweeter as the weather cools. Number 4, mache, also called corn salad, the plant equivalent of a secret weapon, since almost nobody grows it, and it might be the single most cold-tolerant leafy green that exists, happily sitting under snow and coming out tasting like butter. It thrives in zones 2 through 9, needing only a shallow 4-gallon container, and it actually prefers a bit of afternoon shade even once it's cooler out. The only real trick is that the seed needs cool soil to germinate reliably, so sow it in the shadiest corner of your patio and keep the surface consistently damp if it's still hot where you are. It is the name worth hunting down. It takes its time, 50 to 60 days, but once established it'll often keep producing tiny harvests straight through a mild winter. Sugar snap peas close out this section at number 3. Most people only think of peas as a spring thing, but a second planting right now gives you crisp, edible pod peas right as the weather turns pleasant again, no shelling required. Zones 3 through 9 work best. Use a 7-gallon container with a trellis at least 4 feet tall installed before you sow, since the vines climb fast. Lingering summer heat is the enemy here, since it can stall germination and stress young vines. So soak the seed overnight, then sow in the evening once the soil's had a chance to cool. Sugar and super sugar snap are 2 well-loved varieties. You're harvesting in around 60 days. Pick the pods while they're still glossy and plump, and picking often keeps the vine flowering longer. Okay, everything so far. You plant it, you harvest it, and next year you start over. That's not a bad thing. Half the fun of container gardening is swapping things out and trying new varieties every season. But these last 2 flip that completely. Plant these before August, and they'll keep coming back on their own for years, with basically zero extra effort from you beyond the occasional feed and a bit of dividing. Chives take number 2, and they're about as close to a set-it-and-forget-it vegetable as exists. Once established, a single clump just gets bigger and more productive every year, and it's one of the first green things to show up each spring. They handle zones 3 through 10 without complaint in a 5-gallon container, with average soil, average water, and full sun to partial shade. Planting before August matters because it gives the root clump time to bulk up before winter dormancy, so it comes back thicker in spring rather than starting from scratch. Common chives is really the only variety most people need. You can start snipping lightly after about 60 days, and every year after that, you'll be dividing the clump just to keep it from taking over the pot. And here's the one I promised you at the start. Rhubarb takes the number 1 spot, because it doesn't just survive year after year. The crown actually grows and divides itself over time. So a single plant can eventually give you enough material to start 2 or 3 more containers for free. It's happiest in zones 3 through 8, since it genuinely needs a cold winter to reset properly. So if you're somewhere with real frost, this is one of your best long-term investments. Give it a big container, 10 gallons at minimum, since the root crown spreads wide over the years. Planting now means the crown has the whole fall to establish before it goes dormant, so it wakes up strong and pushes stalks in early spring, often before almost anything else in the garden is even awake. Victoria and Canada Red are the 2 varieties nurseries carry most often. Go easy the first year and let it establish rather than harvesting. But from year 2 onward, you'll be pulling stalks every spring for a decade or more from that one original planting. So that's the list, 15 plantings, and honestly, none of them need a backyard. A corner of a balcony, a few grow bags, and the next month or so is genuinely enough time to turn your containers around before the season closes out. Whether you go for the fast stuff like radishes and scallions, dig into the cold lovers like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower, tackle the trickier greens with that fridge trick, or plant something like rhubarb that's still going to be feeding you 5 years from now. Every pot you fill this week is time you don't get back if you wait. Tell me in the comments which one you're planting first. And if there's a variety that's worked for you that I didn't mention, drop it below. I read every one of them. Honestly, half the varieties I grow now came from comment sections just like this one, so don't be shy. If this kind of small space, no-nonsense growing is useful to you, subscribe, new videos drop weekly, and I'll keep bringing you the actual numbers and timing instead of vague plant and fall advice. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy planting, and I'll see you in the next one.